Hi, my name is Anton. I'm from Moscow, Russia. I'm the creative director with the Interactive Lab team. We are specialized in creating, so to say, digital out-of-home experiences for marketing purposes, etc. And later on, we started doing VR. So back to the topic. The topic is how and what you can learn from creating really short VR experiences, because you can't waste much time doing long VR experiences for brands, because it's quite expensive and you don't have time to just let people enjoy it, because you need a high throughput, etc. So we plunged in that topic, and those are the learnings we've got from this experience. So basically, what's the Interactive Lab? This is a small Moscow-based team. We are tech geeks, basically. We are a laboratory. We create fun experiences mostly, and we don't specialize in something. We are really accustomed to dealing with a lot of technologies at once. Basically, we are just like techno geeks, because for our 5th year anniversary 2 years ago, we created this poster, and we tried to assemble everything we used as technologies and gadgets in our work. And as you can see, it's just like everything the geek wants, like starting with I don't know, like the Panasonic D-Imager. It's the camera, depth sensing camera, which came before Kinect, etc. So we try to adopt anything new, anything nobody tried before. As I love to call it, it's pre-consumer technologies. So something which kind of works, but nobody knows what to do with that. Like VR several years ago was that technology. It kind of worked, but nobody knew what to do next. What we did, we started with like simplest multi-touch experiences, then it became more and more complex. We did multi-touch walls shot right on stage. We did motion capture on stage with video mapping connected to motion capture. We did large exhibitions. We did launches. We did like fun stuff in the office. We did more multi-touch. We created more and more experiences. We supported exhibitions. We dived in again in the business of exhibitions. We created even more multi-touch. Then we created kinetic sculptures like this one, and even more multi-touch. Then responsive advertising. Then even more things done with so to say, standard screens. Then we created art exhibitions and art projects. Then we tried VR. We tried several VR projects. This one of the biggest ones we did, and I'll get back to it. And as you can see, we are not focused on doing something with VR only, and we're not focused on doing only VR. We are just a wide experience team, and we try to stay that way because we really like trying new stuff, trying new things, and just doing something fun. For us, it was always about that. It was about doing something new and doing something fun. Yeah, more and more VR, even more VR, VR for business, VR for entertainment, etc. And so then we got the development kit, and it started like that. So the first thing we tried to do is to create a 5D experience with the development kit one. And as you can see, it kind of works. And we understood that that's real fun. And we understood that we love VR. We want to go that way, and we want to explore it more. And so we devoted more and more time to VR and working with this technology. Back to the topic. So short VR experiences, what's that? So how long this experience was? Actually, I don't want to ask you this question, but anyway, it's 40 seconds. So it's really, really tiny. It's like you put on a headset, you get the idea, you have fun, and you go away. That's it. For marketing purposes, that's the best one you can get. If you get the idea right away, you get a short experience, you get fun, you get the brand, you get the message, next one. That's very important. So short for us is like kind of less than 4 minutes. Even if it's less than 4 minutes, we call it short VR experience. Because basically nobody tries to do it more than 7 minutes or 8 minutes. So 10 minutes it stops because people get bored and they get really dizzy, etc., even if they are okay with VR. So we try to make it real short. And 4 minutes in terms of creating an immersive world where you can feel like you're there, it ain't much at all. Because, for example, I don't know if there are a lot of computer geeks here or gamers, etc., but that's the opening sequence of the Half-Life, the original Half-Life, where you are presented with the setting. You're riding in a train, you can't do much, you just walk around the train car and you look around, and it's 5.5 minutes. It's the beginning, it's like the first page of the large game, and it's already longer than the experiences we try to create. So we need to create an immersive world which is shorter than this one. And the very important point is that short VR ain't primitive VR. It's not like you, when you think about a short thing, it's not like you need to make it super simple. No, you need to still make it like full and visually interesting, etc. So it's not primitive. And if we've got so much constrictions, why we tend to keep creating short VR experiences? Maybe we should just create longer ones. Why we do that? So the main option is to get back to the first and very important point, is that VR hardware is not yet widely adopted. So not a lot of people have got the VR hardware, can invest in buying VR, and actually can use VR at home. So the user base and the install base is really, really tiny comparing to any other technologies. So we don't have much user base. And prolonged VR use is not very comfortable. It's really okay to be in VR just for a tiny fraction of time, and it just builds up, the fatigue builds up, and you get kind of dizzy sometimes. If the VR experience is well made, you will be okay, but it's not so comfortable yet, because the headsets are bulky, you get sweaty, and it's not so good. And yeah, people are just unaccustomed to prolonged VR use. They're just not ready yet. And later on, when you use VR on a daily basis, you can do more and more and more. You don't mind sitting in headsets for a long time. For example, our CG artist, I think 2 years ago, he took the second version of the development kit back home on the Christmas holidays, and he spent several days playing Elite in the VR headset with his joysticks. We didn't want to get the headset later to the office because it was kind of smelly, so to say, but it was okay. He was okay. He's still working alive. His eyesight is okay, so we had an experience like that. And it's not impossible, but it's not so comfortable yet. So we get to the concept of the arcade. Because earlier, we had all those video game arcades around us. People went to the hardware, not the hardware to the people. So if you wanted to play a video game, you went to the arcade, you put a coin in there, and you play a video game, just like that. And right now, yeah, it was just like that. And right now we are moving to this picture. I think everybody working with VR and trying to create a presentation about VR have seen this picture in Google and knows it. But basically that's the idea, that's the concept, that you create a space where somebody can come to and try VR for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, try some experiences, just get to know what VR is, and they can use their really good hardware, not something you can buy at home, not a cardboard, but proper VR hardware, proper computers, proper displays, etc. And basically, the VR arcades are the way people are introduced to this technology, to these experiences. So a lot of people don't do that at home, but the larger audiences are introduced to VR on those experiences which are presented in arcades, like branded experience, etc., or small commercial experiences, etc. We tried to do that because we understood that why not? And the first thing is we commissioned a very simple experience for Heineken. They were just bringing it to the nightclubs, and people were just like flying above a virtual city, collecting stars, and then getting a free bottle of Heineken if they did it right. Super easy, just like super duper easy. And in the base of the platform, there's a fan, so you get like a wind and etc. So it's a very simple arcade. And the point of this arcade was not to introduce people to VR. The arcade here was just a mean to collect consumer contacts, so to create a user base. And the most important thing in this one was the iPad of a promo girl, where she typed in the email before you were allowed to get to the experience. So basically, this is just like a mousetrap. This is not the thing we were selling. This was the deception of the real thing, but it works. And that's very important for us in our business because we work a lot with marketing, we work a lot with ad agencies, and for us it's very important that VR lets those people open up this blocker, those walls which are built in front of everybody in the modern age. So you try and you tend to filter as much advertising content as you go. So you just glance the city streets and you don't see the advertising. You try not to see it. You are very trained to ignore it. And if you present somebody something interesting, something new, a new medium, it's very easy to slide in a little bit of advertised and branded content in there, and it still works. We haven't got much time yet, so I think that several years in the future, people will ignore branded content as well in VR, but right now we can do that, and for us it's very important. And for marketing purposes, short experiences are important on the other hand, because many short experiences are giving us more exposure, so people see more of that content. And it's very, very important for marketing means, because nobody will pay you a lot of money for just one concept, because ad people are accustomed to paying less money for more contexts. And if you sell them VR experiences, you get one headset, and the headset is used for 4 minutes. It's so slow. It's like 10 persons per hour. It's so little. It's just incomprehensibly little for those people. So we need to make the experiences shorter, and you need to make many contacts, because the easiest way here is to divide the number of experience by the number of experience. So you put up a lot of clones of the same experience. So you've got like several booths with the same content, and you can use them simultaneously in parallel, and you've got a lot more people using that experience. And plus, and this is the very important thing, you don't count the experience per se, you count the experience plus the time you need to put on the headset and take off the headset. So preparing, entering, and exiting. And you need to add all that time to the time people spend using your hardware, so not letting other people use it. So basically, those are the constrictions you have to work with. And how do you make it short? Remember, the very important point, that's the first time people use VR. And you can't make it too short and hope that people will get it. You need to balance this out and make it as short as possible, but not too short not to sleep in the area of incomprehensible, where just people can't grasp what you meant and what was it about. Yes, the first time. The idea is to start outside VR. So as you can see, a lot of people here, like in the exposition area here in the conference, they use the stands to promote the experience, just to use it as a starting point. And that's super important to start like in any ride in, I don't know, Universal Studios, Disneyland. The queue is already the beginning of the experience. And it's very important to take out this beginning and to set the stage outside VR, so VR is more believable and people can spend more time immersing in this world before actually going in VR. And yeah, theme parks. You have to adopt the thinking of a theme park. And we tried to do that. We created an experience for Peugeot cycles. I'm sorry that the caption is in Russian. This video is on our website in English, so you can watch it later. But basically what we did, we created a big video wall, I think twice as big as this one, in a park before the VR experience. So the VR experience was very simple. It was just 2 bikes rigged with controllers and the headsets, so it was like a VR race in a futuristic environments, etc. So it was very, very simple one, really a short one. But it was really cool because we got the crowd, which was the point of doing all that thing. We've got the crowd, we've got the branding, etc. It was big, and a lot of people seen that and tried that. And for us, it was super duper important that we've got the gamified part of the experience, we've got the branded part of the experience, and at the same time, it was really short, and we had a lot of people just going through it. So start outside. Yeah, it was really awesome. Then try to do it as natural as possible. So we really try to use as much practices from the real world as possible, because you don't need to learn how to walk. You already know how to walk. You don't need to learn how to, I don't know, do sit-ups. It's very easy. And if in VR you have to do the same thing, you are already accustomed to these controls. And like here, for example, you are just driving in a tricycle. It's not so hard to do that. It's really easy. And you can do that in VR too, because nobody needs to explain you how to do that. And when you try to cross this border, you need some kind of a tutorial in the beginning. This tutorial eats up all this time you've got. And remember, we've got like less than 4 minutes. We can't allow us to have a tutorial. And this thing with the tricycle was really fun. It was super cool because it was simple interaction. You don't need to explain how to do that. It's just natural. It's familiar from the real world, so you know how to do that. And basically, that's kind of a skeuomorphism. You remember the first generation of iPhone interfaces when everything was like borrowed from the real world. So we try to adopt the same thinking, but not in the UI design, but in the experience design. We try to steal from the real world and use those ideas in VR. So you know how to flip pages, you know how to walk, you know how to pick up objects and try to do something with them. So we try to adopt that, and we try to use less controllers like that with buttons, but we try to use more objects, because you know how to operate with objects, and you don't need to look at the buttons in VR. You just need to just grab something and put something in the other place. Like children playing with the game where you have to put special figure in a special slot, and you know that the star goes in the star slot, you know that the cube goes in the square slot, etc. We tried one more thing. We tried to create an escape room. I think it was kind of fun, but when we were developing it, it was commissioned for Samsung. When we were developing this escape room, we wrote the script. We were working with our friends from the escape room community in Moscow. And when we were building the first prototypes, we understood that it's super duper hard to solve puzzles in VR for people, because solving VR and just getting this experience, just being in VR, is already a task. And if you layer it up with more and more tasks people need to focus on and try to solve while being in VR, and if you try to keep it short, you are just doomed. Still, people are not ready to do that. So we overthought it, we overcomplicated it, and we were just like scrapping more and more puzzles. And later, the game just became a game where you have to take an object, walk with it a little bit, put it somewhere, etc. So it was already a task for and some people really failed to do that. And for us, it was like, oh, we didn't know that. And it was very important to adopt this understanding that people are not ready for VR yet. And as it says, go there and do that is already a task and already somehow a puzzle. So to sum it up, it's not a very vast experience I'm talking here about. I'm talking here about a company which plunged in VR like 5 years ago, and we are not a big production house, and we are not a startup doing VR escape rooms and quests, etc. But we have acquired expertise in all those things really fast. And that's the cool part of VR, that you can still jump on that train. It's not so far away. VR is not so developed yet, and if you want to go with VR as a technology, and you want to do something in VR, it's not late yet. You have to do it now. You don't need to waste time, but it's right there, and you can learn all those things we did like in 2 years. And you will get the expertise really fast. It's a steep learning curve, but it's very fast. And so to sum it up, simple sometimes in VR is already complex. Why? Because people are not yet ready. They do not grasp the concept of VR naturally. As we talked yesterday with the guys. We were telling basically all the same things, that we need to wait like one more generation so people will be VR ready, like the computers now have the stickers VR ready. So people in one more generation will have the sticker VR ready. They will be able to do all that you want to do them in VR. But right now you have to be really not too demanding from your audience. And what works? Mechanics from the real world. If you go with simple mechanics from the real world, they will definitely work. And if you have limited time frame, you should do that. And get a tutorial outside. Prepare people to use VR outside VR. Don't waste time inside VR, because VR is almost always, if it's out-of-home installation, it's somewhere, it's a booth, and you can use the booth to prepare people to the experience.